It looks like it did. Alright, it looks like I should be able to hear. Missy, go ahead and say something for me.
Hi.
Yay, there we go. Okay. That's what happens when
Are
you
we
start
good?
updating programs right before. But alright, everybody, welcome to another week of our Ashes of Creation Deep Dive series. It used to be called Cool Cats Chats, which is still around, but we decided to go full throttle with Ashes of Creation. So, there's a lot to this game, there's a lot coming out. I mean, the more and more we go through it, Missy, I mean, to me, I feel like we're still, like they've only given us like a foot of water, and we have a whole ocean of stuff to take a look at, so.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah. I feel like when we read something, hey, Denny.
Hey,
What's
Denny.
going on?
How's it going?
Yep. We're like, oh, we know Denny's gonna be here. It's like Streamlabs' chat does never want to like update correctly. And before I forget, I want to make sure that I get this done. Let's see if this actually comes up. Okay. Maybe it's delayed or whatever. Alright. Well, tonight, guys, we're going to be doing combat, dungeons, and raids. So the combat part, me and Missy were looking over it earlier, is going to be a lot of repeated stuff. There is some newer things, so we're going to kind of skim over the combat section a little bit, unless there's something that we really want to talk about. But there are some new sections within combat that I would like to go over, just so we could actually get to the dungeons and raids. So the dungeons and raids, I found about 4 videos, 2 of them related to combat. Some of them are pre-alpha, but you will actually see the ranger class, which is almost like the rogue class. Oh hey, there's Chris. 3-month streak. Yeah, mine never actually showed up. I think it's done broken.
You broke it again.
I done broked it. Oh, I guess I have to share it. Aha. See, that's what happens. There we go. So everyone, if you want to type /hi, if we see this actually works. Woo! Cool. Okay. But yes, so like I said, combat video. It's going to be about the ranger. You'll be seeing some of the utility skills on there, and then it'll kind of lead into the siege. It's kind of cinematic, but I think they are. Oh, yours was up too, Missy. There you go. And then I have, It's Dangerous to Go Alone, and it's actually a mage gameplay for dungeon. Oh wow, we actually have a little hype train going on, 94%. And then I have a Dunheim dungeon lore, probably saying that wrong. And that one's going to be just kind of showing like inside of a dungeon, some of the ads, NPCs in there. And then it was a pre-alpha gameplay video. There's a lot to it, but I kind of just picked out the dungeon / raid part. So, woo, we're at 100. Look at that. So
Hey,
anyway,
Chris.
hype. Woohoo. So,
I keep thinking of Night Train by Guns N' Roses. Instead of Night Train, we're on the hype train.
On the hype train?
Bottoms up. Wait, bottoms up.
Right, we're actually 22% inside level 2. Good stuff, guys, good stuff. And if you are joining us for the first time tonight, please press that follow button. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. Right now we have lots of people looking at our content, but no one's pressing that subscribe button. I will tell you this, it's a little secret. It is free. Doesn't cost you a penny. And I don't care if you turn off the notifications, even though I think that would be nice for you to actually check out our content every time it comes out. but just click, and you're good to go. If you're a streamer too, we'll hit you back. We definitely do that. We do not discriminate in that sense. All right, Missy, do you have combat up?
I have combat up.
All right,
combative,
Exactly. Like I said, guys, some of this might be repeating, but we're going to try to read a lot of the text, even if it is repeat from last week or a couple weeks ago. But as far as the skills and the abilities, we'll probably skip over those a little bit just so we can get to the good stuff. So, Missy, take it away.
All right, so we're in combat. Combat in Ashes of Creation is focused on strategy and tactics. Combat is the most tactile system in the game. It needs to feel responsive, mobile, and fluid. It needs to give a feeling of satisfaction. We want combat to be engaging, fun. Right now we've begun the sprint toward Alpha 1 first phase deployment, so we're really looking into the action side of combat right now, and we're building systems for that. And the reason why we are doing that is because tab targeting has been a staple of MMORPGs for a very long time. Even though there's a large interest now in action for MMORPGs, and there has been some successful titles with action-oriented, like Terra and BDO. We want to be able to really delve into that development so that we can better understand how to merge tab and action together in the same game, because they are vastly different playstyles.
Yep, and I don't think I think we've kind of already read that on the side there. Okay, so going down here, so combat targeting, like I said, a lot of this is going to be kind of repeating. But I think as far as this goes, I guess, let's see, hitboxes, cleaving, time to kill. I think some of this is actually kind of new.
Yeah, it is. I'm scanning through it and I'm like, yeah, we haven't read this yet.
Yeah. Go ahead, Missy, go. Combat targeting.
All right, so hybrid combat refers to the choice between tab-targeted skills, action-targeted skills, or a mix of both in the Ashes of Creation MMORPG. This is achieved through choice of skills and abilities. A tab-targeted ability requires a target in order to utilize that skill.
Yep.
An action skill is I was going to say, that's pretty basic. If anybody's 5 and playing this, then you understand.
Right.
An action skill is anything that can be utilized through placement of the player, such as a reticle, a ground template, or a directional placement. It may not be possible to be able to fully spec into just action or tab-targeted skills. There might be a 75% cap on choosing skills from any one type. Different ranks of the same skill can change the skill from tab to action targeted, or vice versa. Skill progression, skill point allocation is determined by the player. The player will be able to choose either more tab-targeted oriented skills or more action-based skills and customize their playable experience to what accommodates their preference. From a balancing standpoint for us developers, we need to make sure that certain abilities house certain functions so that there's a balance between skill shots and tab target abilities. A toggle button, default Z for us Canadians, allows the player to switch between action and tab targeted combat modes. The action mode utilizes a targeting reticle and is very close to a third-person action game. The reticle will highlight, change color to indicate if the current target is able to be hit with the currently prepared skill. Pressing right-click while in action mode will switch to tab mode for the currently highlighted target. Currently this is activated left-click in Alpha 1, but it will be changed to right-click. The tab mode, MMO mode, facilitates tab-targeted combat. Pressing left-click in tab mode will attack the target with the currently selected weapon. There will be a target of target capability on the user interface. Action-oriented and tab-oriented versions of skills will have different characteristics, variables that will change based on which version is chosen. Damage, charge-up time, CC effects, cooldown, energy consumption, cost to a spec, Attack range will likely remain the same as it is driven by the weapon or skill itself. As an example, let's say you're playing a ranged class. You could have an action-oriented power shot in your skill tree, or you could have a single target power shot that ramps up and does more damage. For the purposes of balance, certain skill types will be either tab or action-oriented skills. For example, hard CCs may be housed in action-oriented skills because they are skill shots that are more difficult to land. Softer CCs would be housed in tab-targeted abilities. Hybrid combat is scheduled for testing in Alpha 1.
Yeah, which we saw that video last week.
Yeah, where it showed the reticle and all of that.
And I mean, from what I can tell, just kind of looking at it again, I think there's actually a little video here that we've already kind of seen. I'll just mute it. And we'll kind of watch him attack a little bit here. But yeah, there's your reticle in the center. So, and then he's gonna a Felbeak Macaw. He's gonna, and he is a tank. Yeah. And like I said, the UI that you guys are seeing is definitely not the final cut. It's supposed to be a lot prettier and stuff like that. But I mean, to be honest, right now it kind of resembles Guild Wars 2, to be honest. So, but I think there's definitely gonna be a lot more flair, and I do like their character model up there, the showing the health and mana, or health and resource, I should say. Supposedly, what Missy found out was if you take damage, that'll actually start reflecting that you're taking damage too. So it's pretty cool. So as you saw, like I said, this is like the action combat, and I think when he was on tab and then he switched it pretty quickly, pretty easily. So kind of let him actually get to that point where he starts actually really attacking here. Come on, Steven. I believe in you. Yeah, so it's nice and quick. No, there he goes. And he should be laying it out. So there you go. Yeah, I like, I like how it looks. To me, I mean, coming from Black Desert Online, that's what it kind of really reminds me of. And I mean, and this is just pre-alpha / alpha 1, right? So yeah, once this game finally comes out, it should be pretty good. So, but all right, hitboxes. So the developers are testing different approaches to accommodate varying hitboxes between the races. There may be a single unified hitbox with some exceptions or some special collision rules as opposed to having different sized hitboxes. More than likely, we'll have some sort of unified and unified-ish hitbox, but again, it's going to be probably a unified hitbox with some exceptions or some sort of special collision, which is pretty much what he was saying. There aren't separate types of hitbox categories in Ash's Creation, as there are Apocalypse. I never got to play it. It was kind of, I learned about it like way after, a couple months after it actually disappeared off of Steam, I think is where they actually had it. But I know they used that and got a lot of feedback. That was pretty much their test for combat, for their action combat, I think. So hopefully they got some good data off of it. Sounded like they did. Says we don't have... Okay, so we don't have separate types of hitbox categories. For example, there is no head hitbox in MMORPG like there is in APOC. From a critical standpoint, you're not going to see a greater risk of critting for a larger hitbox. So, that's good. I wonder if they're going to actually have, I know that was one thing actually for World of Warcraft, when you're fighting a dragon, you actually had to watch out for the tail swipe. Like if you were standing on the butt of the dragon, you could be hit by the tail. Or if you're standing in front of the dragon, So with the hitbox, we'll have to kind of see if they're going to have positionals or not. I mean, from the strategical point, like Missy was reading earlier, I would hope they have hitbox option, like, you know, positions, and you get more damage from hitting this side and all that stuff. So I think we will see. So cleaving, all weapons have a forward attack cone regardless of being in tab or action mode. The cone's arc and distance may vary on weapon type. So pole arms, as we said last time, you know, because it's longer, so you'll be able to hit more versus like a little dagger. A dagger is not going to hit 10 feet out.
Then like stabby.
It's like stabby, stabby.
Stabby, 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 stabby.
It says this is described as a weapon attack, not an active skill. It was previously stated that cleaving will be a class ability for some classes. So, aka, I would say tank, definitely, rogue, and mage will probably have something. I guess they all might probably have some sort of cleaving, but it just depends, right? So
everybody likes a little cleavage.
Exactly.